Matthias Omatola here with Artificial Conference, and I'm accompanied by Heather Whitney. Heather,
Very good. How are you guys?
so good. Very excited. So happy to have you at the conference. I know so many people are really concerned with the world of AI and laws, and things are changing so fast. They're trying to keep up to it. So one of the things is people are looking for all the information. Where do they go? Who should they talk to? And here you are. You're going to be giving a great presentation on generative AI and copyright, which is a huge thing right now. I know there's lots of lawsuits. There's a lot of other things going on. But why should someone listen to you and your talk on this subject?
Yeah. So I guess I can give a little bit of background about myself and what I do. So I am an attorney at a law firm, Morrison Forrester in San Francisco. And in background, I used to be in academia. So I used to teach at University of Chicago Law School, and then was a researcher at Harvard Law School, and was doing a PhD in philosophy before coming to this firm, and did a lot on the regulation of technology companies and taught copyright for a number of years. And so now I work on technology transactions, and most of my work right now is in that sort of generative AI, artificial intelligence space. And I represent both companies that provide these kinds of models, those who are trying to get access to these models, like via the APIs, and then also individuals who are trying to understand basically whether or not are the conditions under which you can receive copyright protection for works that you create using generative AI tools. So I see it from all of these different angles with a special emphasis on copyright and trying to understand, and have spoken to the Copyright Office and have filed things. I am a good person, I think, to listen to when it comes to someone who's actually had to do some stuff in this space for a while now.
Awesome. So what are you most excited about in the world of AI and this conference?
I looked through the talks. I think it's going to be super fun. I think it's great to hear other people speak. I am excited to hear about things from more of the creative side. And I think it'll just be awesome. I enjoy giving talks in this area because I love it when people come up afterwards and share what they're doing and what they're thinking about, and seeing the kinds of creative outputs people are making and how they're thinking of using these tools and the legal questions that come up. So it's always fun for me to interact with people who are not lawyers and are interested in that.
Yeah, definitely. So who would you say should attend your presentation? Who would be a really good member of the audience to say, oh, you know what, I have these different concerns. I should come here. I'm wanting to learn more. I should come. I should stay for the after party. I should chat some more. Who would you say would be a good person to tune in?
So for people, there's a couple of groups, I think, that where the copyright issues with AI are particularly salient. One are creators who are interested in using these tools to create content that they want to be able to protect, or they think that it shouldn't be protected. So anybody who's a content creator and is interested in using these tools, I think it's very important to have an understanding of copyright law generally, but then how copyright law is and how copyright will or will not protect what they're doing there, and how to think about that when they're deciding if they should be using these tools and in what way. Another group I think that it's useful for are people who are working at companies or representatives from companies who are interested in using these tools and know that their employees are using these tools, and to make work product. Because again, it has real implications for the ability to protect that work. And then I think people if anybody is there from any of these companies, also learning a bit more about just how copyright works and what that means and how creatives think about it, I think it's very useful. So I think it's anybody who is interested in ownership or access to creative materials made this way. I think that it would be good enough to attend.
Awesome. So what would you say would be one of the takeaways that they would get from your presentation and being able to interact with you on the whole world of generative AI and copyright? What would be one of the takeaways from your presentation?
My hope is that there will be at least two sort of takeaways. The one takeaway is just understanding a little bit more about what copyright, so basically more of a copyright 101-ish thing, so that they understand and they can say what kinds of works are protectable, what kinds of works are not protectable in a general sense. So that would be my first takeaway. And then the second is to understand I will not be able to provide an answer to the question of whether something will or will not be copyrightable when they're using AI tools, because the Copyright Office doesn't know the answer to that question. But I can say what we do know on the far ends of the spectrum, and getting that kind of information, I think, will be a takeaway. And I guess a third takeaway is that people should hopefully be able to articulate afterwards what the questions really are and what we're waiting to figure out and what the implications of that were. That would be, I think all three of those are reasonable takeaways from this talk.
That's exciting. So what would you say is to someone if they were on the fence? They're like, oh, maybe I should go listen, maybe I shouldn't. What would you say for someone who is on the fence if they should invest in this for themselves as a content creator or a business professional? If they're on the fence, what would you say about making the investment and taking the time and the financial investment?
So I think on the time part, if you're a company who is interested in using these tools, I think one way or the other, it's incredibly important to understand this area of the law, both because the copyright issues are some of the biggest issues right now that are facing them, both on the training data side, but also on the output side. And it matters a lot from a liability perspective. So there's two ways of thinking about it, which is like your liability given like infringement risks, but also your ability to own and sort of act defensively when people are coming after your stuff. And so understanding that is super important for people who are using this. And the reality is that I forgot what the study was, but there was some survey that was done of engineers about what percentage are using things like basically like tools, like generative AI tools to help them with their coding. And it was something like 80%. And they said that of their employers, how many of your employers know? And it was like 15% or 20%. It was something very low. This is being used all over the place. And it will come up in the future. If you're going to invest in companies, if you're trying to get your company acquired, if you are a content creator, these are the real issues. And so I think it behooves people who are in that space one way or the other to figure out some of this stuff and make decisions with that kind of information.
Awesome. And the last question for you on that is, in the world of artificial intelligence, like so much has changed and it's changing so many industries. Within your field of expertise in law and in this, what developments or what do you see happening that has transformed everything in your world for what you do, as well as what do you see in the near future for what you do and the implications of it?
Yeah, that's great. So I think that what I've seen so far is that it's going to make a huge difference inside of law firms and the practice of law in the sense of making it easier to do both things like diligence on companies and reviewing. Lots of lawyers spend lots of hours of their life looking at lots of contracts and lots of just documents. There's lots of reading involved and trying to basically hunt for things within these giant piles of different kinds of documents. And it's clear that this is going to be something that the next generation of lawyers is just not going to be doing in the same way, which is it's exciting. It's raising interesting questions about how you train attorneys, how you learn how to be a good lawyer if a lot of these things are not being done. And so I think it's going to call into question, basically the training and the future training of lawyers because of these tools. And I think that is going to become a real issue sooner rather than later. But again, if you saw, there have been a couple of articles out about lawyers who just assumed that anything that came out of any of these models are truthful, and then they submitted it to courts and that sort of thing, and it wasn't truthful. So I think it's not that it's going to take over our jobs in that sense anytime soon, but they will be used and they will get better. And it's going to be something that I think all attorneys are going to be expected to know how to use to be more efficient at their job.
Awesome. And any last things you want to say to any of the people who are looking to attend or actually on their way?
I look forward to meeting everyone and then hearing about how the people are using these tools and learning from all of the other speakers and seeing everyone at the events and getting feedback on what they think about the future of copyright and AI, because it's very much in flux. And so people who have strong views, it's very fun to hear about them and what they want to do, and they could make a difference too.
Thank you so much, Heather. That was great. Great information all around. Super excited to have you. And I'm definitely looking forward. I know it's so many people that I've worked with over the years as creatives, and it's the foundation of what they do is creative ownership, building their own brands, developing their own style, and now here we are. So thank you for what you're doing and your contribution to this entire...
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for inviting me.